Okay, welcome back again. Our midweek MPs have reunited for their first 2015 appearance to start the election year. Let's get talking about the issues on Parliament Hill. Mississauga Conservative MP Stella Ambler joins North Delta BC NDP MP Jenny Sims and Toronto Liberal MP Adam Vaughan. All right, guys, the government admits to spending $700,000 fighting veterans in a court challenge over that Veterans Charter. I want to just quickly play a clip from earlier today, question period, and then I want to get your thoughts on this.
Major Mark Campbell lost both legs in Afghanistan fighting the Taliban. Now he's fighting a government that has spent $700,000 in legal fees to deny him $35,000 in benefits. Will the Prime Minister live up to our sacred obligation, end this court battle, and start giving our veterans the help they deserve?
The government isn't going to comment on matters before the court, other than, Mr. Speaker, simply to observe that in this case the government is defending a decision of the previous government supported by all parties in the House of Commons. Mr. Speaker.
All right, you couple that with another interesting story that came out today that the government spent $1.4 million in court fighting to keep refugees from getting health benefits. And I guess the question is, the only winners in all this seems to be lawyers that are paid by the government and the taxpayers. I don't know why they're bothering. Does anyone there know? Let's start with you, Jenny Sims. What do you think's going on and what should be done about it?
That this is happening in our country. Veterans, they risk their life and limb when we send them out on missions to defend our democracies and our freedom. And here we are when they come back. We're not willing to give them the kind of supports they need. From closures of their offices, from over $1 billion being left unspent while our veterans are very needy, and now wasteful expenditures on court cases instead of giving our veterans the pensions and services they deserve and they need. I think that we have a very mean-spirited government, and I think for the average Canadian this makes no sense. In my riding, when I'm talking to people in Newton, North Delta, they are absolutely embarrassed that we are treating our veterans so badly.
All right, I'll get Adam Vaughan to weigh in on this, and then I want to get Stella involved. Adam, what's your take on the government's costly, litigious actions?
Well, it defies understanding, and quite frankly, on a day when Canadians all over the country are tweeting, you know, let's talk, and are speaking up for people with mental health issues, including veterans that are dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. We have a government that's happy to tweet, but is centering all its action on suing veterans. I mean, you know, you could have helped a dozen plus veterans with quality health care and quality services to restore capacity to their lives and to honor their service to this country. Instead, what we get is a court case. And it's not the first example of this. It's court case after court case after court case. And quite frankly, the Prime Minister pretending that he won't talk about the court cases, that he won't talk about legal proceedings because they're in front of a judge is humorous when you consider how many pot shots Stephen Harper has taken at the court system over his career.
Yeah, Stella Ambler, you must admit the optics don't look good on this, spending that much money just to fight the veterans advocates in court. What's your explanation for why this is being done?
You know, Don, anytime we see even one veteran who's given so much for our country, who's suffering and who's not receiving the kind of help that he needs, of course, we're all very disappointed and we want to help to make it better. What this court case is actually about is the new Veterans Charter, and frankly, the issue is whether Parliament had the authority to vote that in, to create that in 2005, I believe it was. And, you know, back then, it was a unanimous decision by all parties to create this new Veterans Charter. And that was a very partisan environment back then, and it was something that was everyone everyone agreed on. To this, now it's a living document and changes need to be made to improve it. Everyone agrees on that as well. But ultimately, our commitment to veterans is huge.
But the commitment to veterans is a commitment to veterans. It's not a commitment to legal proceedings.
180,000 veterans who are receiving benefits from Veterans Affairs Canada. Their benefits.
But when a veteran
financial
presents,
assistance,
when a veteran presents.
And there is absolutely none of this mean-spiritedness that Ginny talks about. There's a total commitment on the part of the Department of Veterans Affairs. There are 3,300 people.
No, look at when a veteran presents themselves with clear needs. When a veteran presents themselves with clear needs, the response should not be go to court. The response should be to respond to that individual and their needs. And instead, what we get is this kind of talk. And this kind of talk is disrespectful.
You know that we can't talk about the court cases.
You just did.
You
just
did.
did.
Court cases about the
Let Jenny have a part. Jenny, over to you.
I am really getting tired of this rhetoric of, oh, we respect the veterans from the Conservative Party and my respected colleagues. But you know, the reality is over $1 billion remained in that account, which, was unspent, whereas we're hearing from veterans who come to lobby us here on the Hill. They've traveled here with their families, and they're telling us the kind of mental health issues they're facing. The families are telling us how they feel the pressure of all of this. And yet this government would rather fight the veterans in the courts than sit down and find solutions. At the end of the day, no veteran would be going forward saying, I'm not getting the services they need if those services were being provided.
And the proof's in the pudding.
We've had case after case after case. And I can tell you, I've met with many, many, many veterans.
But the proof's in the pudding. They fired the minister. If the job was being done properly, they would not have fired Fantino. That is completely clear that the Prime Minister lost faith in the way that ministry is being run, and they should step up and change policy. They should step up and fund programs. They should step up and serve veterans. Instead, we've had a revolving door in Veterans Affairs with one minister after the other going through and coming out and being disgraced, and the government could solve this problem by spending on services. It doesn't. It spends a lot of money on lawyers. It fights veterans harder than it fights just about any other file. This is typical of the way in which they engage virtually every sector of Canada.
I just want to get one point clear here. Stella, your party lost in a lower court. I mean, this is the actions from a lower court. You have to take it forward on appeal. Why don't you just admit you can't win this one, save any more money being racked up, and use it to help veterans?
You know what? The help for veterans is ongoing. It's every day. This is not a case. Well, and you've put me in an awkward position.
No one believes you anymore.
You know that individual court cases, you can't talk about them. But we can talk about the charter. We can talk about the $5 billion a year that's spent. We can talk about the 180,000 veterans that are being serviced and are receiving benefits, who have very diverse needs. They range in age from 20 to 100. They access their services differently. And absolutely, Veterans Affairs is doing everything they
service
can.
routinely, and that's the issue.
We have veterans being denied services, and I'm quite comfortable talking about that.
And we have a brand new Veterans Affairs Minister who is a former Canadian Forces member himself.
You should check. You should check because they get switched out pretty quickly.
Oh, let's not.
For a reason.
No, Adam, he's gonna.
Sarcasm is the anger that all of us encounter in the veterans in this country who are tired of being.
I talk to a lot of veterans too, and many of them are actually very happy with the service that they've received.
This is why I like you guys.
When there's
here
one
in
that
this
doesn't,
Why'd you fire the
Why did you
fire the minister?
To fix that problem.
Why'd you fire the minister?
Yeah.
He was doing a good job.
Don is talking to us now.
The minister was doing a good enough job not to get
The
fired.
new minister will be here momentarily. Can you cut him off, Kieran? We'll cut off the mics if you guys don't listen. Be nice. All right. Very quickly, we only got 2 minutes left here. This is Let's Talk Day. You guys had a very traumatic experience in the House of Commons in October when a gunman went through. Very quickly, literally 30 seconds each. Have people experienced mental consequences from that in your caucuses? We'll start with you, Ginny.
Well, you cannot say that everybody just is okay after an incident like that. I think for many people, it was the first time they had that experience. But we also had some caucus members who've been in very difficult positions before, and it brings up a lot of stuff. And I would definitely say it's something we've been dealing with as a caucus. We've had councillors come in, we've had presentations made to us, and we're very good at keeping an eye on each other to make sure that we pick up any signals and provide the support we can. And some people will need professional help, and that's just the nature of the beast.
Okay, I'd like to get your thoughts on Stella Ambler, because the Conservatives, that was right outside your caucus door. There was the hails of gunfire. How have your colleagues reacted?
Well, I think everyone deals with it differently, and I guess it just depends on your life experiences. I mean, I think everyone from all sides is dealing with it. We dealt with it pretty well, and I guess everyone in their own way. I think it was important to note right at the beginning, and we did that anyone who needed help was able to ask for it, was in fact encouraged to seek counseling or to speak to someone, and I think we were all very kind to each other, and despite what you see on this panel, we are generally very kind to each other, as you know,
true.
Don.
The last word to you on this, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of the caucuses are aware of some people who have had some difficulties, and our hearts and our support goes out to them. The services and the approach to making sure that people knew services were available has been very strong. And I think all of us feel a lot more secure when we see the parliamentary security and talk to them, who encountered many more problems than some of us did, and to see them pull together has been great. It's a good environment here for that.
All right. Well said. Thank you all. I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
And